Hi, today we're going to make something classic, icebox cookies. Here's the ingredients you're going to need. Butter, eggs, salt, flour, whole wheat and regular flour, a little bit of baking soda, brown sugar, and some spices because these are going to be the spice cookie variation of the icebox cookies. Are you ready? Here we go.
Hi everybody. Today we have all these ingredients and we're going to make a classic cookie. Called icebox cookies, or refrigerator cookies, or freezer cookies. And the great thing is that there are so many variations that you can make just on this one basic recipe. Now, I have very fond memories of my mom. Before we went to school in the morning, she would take a log of this cookie dough out of the freezer, slice up some pieces, put it in the oven. This is before school in the morning. And the house would start to smell like great cookies, and then she would get the cookies out of the oven, pack them up in our lunch boxes, and send us off to school. So let's see if we can make some cool cookies and you can make some good memories that you can carry with you for a long time and your kids can share those memories. So let's get started with our basic ingredients. We're going to need 2 sticks of butter, 1 cup of butter, 2 eggs, some kosher salt. I always like to mix whole wheat with regular flour. In fact, I'd rather have white whole wheat, but it's hard to find these days. Brown sugar, baking soda, and my variation is going to have a lot of spices. So, cardamom, nutmeg, cinnamon, ginger, and of course vanilla. In fact, I love to have a little perfume right now. Oh, it smells so good. We've got our ingredients. Let's get our equipment. We're just going to need a mixing bowl, wooden spoon, some measuring spoons, and a cup. If you have a stand mixer, you can use that, but I like to use the elbow grease, okay? So here we go. I put the recipe right up here so I wouldn't forget how to make these cookies. Mix together thoroughly 1 cup soft shortening. This is an old-fashioned cookbook back when we used to use Crisco a lot. But I'm going to use butter. It's going to taste better. And 2 sticks softened butter. Now I know my explorer friends are going to know what I'm going to sing next. Mush the butter with the back of the spoon. Mush and mush and mush and mush. Mush the butter with the back of the spoon. We want it to be nice and smooth before we add our sugar. Nice and smooth. Nice and smooth. Okay, we check our recipe again. It calls for 1/2 cup of sugar and 1/2 cup of brown sugar. Now I always like brown sugar, so I am going to just use brown sugar, and it's okay if you want to change your recipe. And in fact, it calls for a whole cup. I don't like my cookies too sweet, so I am not going to do a whole cup of sugar. I'm going to do 1/2 cup and maybe half of a cup. 1/2 cup is 1/4 cup. But we still will use that technique where we're mushing with the back of the spoon. Mush the butter and sugar together. You want it to look all even. Right now I can still see where the butter is and where the brown sugar is. So that means I need to mix some more. Mix and mix and mix and mix. Mix that together with the back of the spoon. Oh, to show you how nicely mixed all together it is. Check my recipe again. 2 eggs. A lot of recipes it says you must do this, you must do that. You must have your eggs at room temperature. Doesn't really matter. But if you do want to follow through and have your things at room temperature, you can speed things up by putting your eggs in a bowl of warm water. All right, now we can stir it together. Mix and mix. Now when we cook in the classroom, we almost never use real eggs. We use our pretend eggs. And if you're a vegan or if you don't have eggs, a great substitute for real eggs is to take about a tablespoon or two of ground flaxseed meal and mix it with a tablespoon or two of water. You can either let that sit for an hour or so or stick it in the microwave for like 30-40 seconds, and it makes a marvelously goopy mess. And that sort of gelatinous mess that those flax seeds make is about the same thing. It has the same binding action as adding eggs. And some people say flaxseed meal is really healthy, so it's adding fiber and some nutrients to your recipe too. I think that's pretty good. It looks a little curdy, but that's all right. Let's see what they say next. Sift together and stir in 2 3/4 cups sifted gold medal flour, half a teaspoon soda, 1 teaspoon salt, and then the spices or the vanillas. It says to add the vanilla with the egg. I've already got my perfume on, so I'm just going to throw it in. Again, all those recipes say, oh, you got to measure carefully. You don't really have to. And the whole business about sifting, that's not really that important either. Although when we cook in the classroom, we usually have a bowl full of wet ingredients and a bowl full of dry ingredients, and then mix them together, whichever way is right. Okay, but I am just going to throw everything in here. So I'm going to use a cup and 3/4 of white flour and a cup of whole wheat. Okay, again, we're adding, by using whole wheat, we're adding nutrients, we're adding fiber to our thing. Half a teaspoon soda. Baking soda, I wouldn't advise you to taste this. Baking soda tastes terrible, as my friends know. Uh-oh, we're almost out. And the baking soda is our leavening agent, so our cookies will be crispy, crunchy, light, and airy. 1 teaspoon salt. So this one was half teaspoon. 2 of those would make one of these, which is a teaspoon. I'm going to add that. I like using kosher salt, and so do all the cooks who make cooking shows. Then we add our spices. So cinnamon is number 1. So this says 2 to 3 teaspoons of cinnamon. And I can't argue with that because I love cinnamon. 1, 2. Now the rest of my spices are a little stronger than cinnamon, so we don't need as much. And it's a good opportunity to smell them all because they all smell wonderful. This is cardamom. It's my Norwegian heritage coming through. I'll add cardamom. I love the smell. Ginger. That wakes you up. Ginger is like, it smells like medicine. Okay, we'll add some ginger in there. And I have nutmeg, so I'll just add half a teaspoon of that in there. These are the same kind of spices you would find in a pumpkin pie, in gingerbread, in molasses cookies, and things like that. So they are a wonderful combination. Okay, so did I forget anything? Shortening, check. Sugar, eggs, flour, soda, salt, cinnamon, vanilla. Great. It says here, mix thoroughly with hands. That's because this is a very stiff dough. I'm going to start with the spoon, and then if I need to, I'm going to do the hands. Press and mold into a long, smooth roll about 2.5 inches in diameter. And then wrap it in wax paper and chill until stiff, several hours or overnight. With a thin, sharp knife, cut into thin slices, and bake. 400 degrees, 6 to 8 minutes. So that's quick cooking. So don't go away once you put them in the oven. So here I am, all the spices, everything is in here. And we're mixing it all together. It is, like I said, a very stiff dough. So I'm going to use the back of my spoon just like I did when I was mixing the butter in. And as soon as I get it all mixed together, I will get in there with my hand. All right. This is looking very good. Now I need to go find my wax paper and roll it into a roll. Okay, so I'll be right back. Now you may not have wax paper at your house, but parchment paper or even plastic wrap will do. So I've got some, get rid of all that. Got my wax paper here. And I'm going to just turn everything over onto the paper. And you can see there's a little bit of flour, dry spots. But this is where I'm going to use my hands and make sure everything is all mixed in. All right? Before I roll it up. Oh, the dog just came in. She heard some things maybe falling to the floor, some little crumbs. This is my cleanup person. Right, Juniper? Yeah? All right. All right, that's pretty good. Now I'm going to make my log. So when I mentioned before, my mom used to just cut enough to feed whoever was in the house and leave the rest of the log in the freezer until she needed to make, because they are wonderful, just warm straight out of the oven. Okay, so here we go. Here's my log. Looks kind of like Play-Doh, doesn't it? I'm going to roll it up like this, like this. Twist it over here like a little hard candy. Okay, now the hard part's going to be waiting until it's all chilled. This is going to go in the fridge, in the freezer. It says, chill until stiff for several hours or overnight. All right, here we go. We're going in. All right, I'll catch you in a little bit after that thing is chilled nice and firm, okay? You can go play outside on this beautiful day, or build a castle out of cardboard boxes, or paint a picture, or find stones or acorns to count. I'm sure you can find something fun to do. Okay, see you in a little bit. Hi, we're back here, and I've had my me and Cookie Monster here. And I've had lunch. My thing has been chilling. I even threw it into the freezer for a little bit. And it's pretty, ouch, pretty hard. Now, as I mentioned before, the cool thing about this method, well, there's two cool things. One is that you can tailor the ingredients to whatever flavors you feel like having. The other is that, gee, I only want a few cookies today, so I'm just going to slice off one tray's worth. The rest can go back in the freezer. I got my sharp knife here, and then I've got just a regular kitchen knife. I want to try this first to see if your kids can actually do this part. So first, make sure the hands are clean, and then we're going to cut. Oh, yes, easy peasy. Now the one on the end is not going to look quite as nice as the rest, but then we'll just slice, try and make even slices, as many cookies as we want. Now I'm going to try something. I'm going to try something with my cookies. They don't spread very much. I'm going to try making footprints in my cookies. So I have a couple of props here to help me make some cool footprints, and we'll see if it works. Little saber-toothed tiger, he's got nice little footprints. I have one of my little Playmobil guys. He doesn't have a head, but he does have some nice boots. And then, this is my favorite, most exciting. Take a look at this fella. You think he's going to make good footprints? Let's find out. Okay, so because it's not frozen solid, I'm just going to walk my guys right over and press gently and make a series of footprints. That's my Playmobil guy. So let's try our little saber-toothed tiger. Oh, I like that a lot. Okay, he's going to stomp. I'm going to give him another cookie over here. Oh my goodness, look at the claws on this guy. Let's see what he does when he presses into a cookie. Now, it's a big experiment because I don't know how much these are going to puff up. Now I'm going to pop those in the oven, 400 degrees, 6 to 8 minutes, so not very long at all. Let's try this. I wonder if I can do something else with a pattern. You may even have some cookie stamps. That would probably work good. We have some of those in our Play-Doh tub at school. And that would be perfect for this if I had those. So these are going to go in the oven. And hopefully I'll still have some footprints when they come out. And this I'm going to wrap right back up and put back in my freezer. I'll meet you back here in 6 to 8 minutes. Okay? Did you hear that? The cookies are done. Let's go get them. Ooh, they look good. Oh, I forgot to turn off the timer. I can see that I really could have cut them even thinner than that because they did take longer than 6 to 8 minutes. But they look good. Some of the footprints show up. Some of the footprints don't. So if you want to try that footprint trick, I would push them in really deep. But they smell wonderful. And I think the next thing that I'm going to do is put on my tea kettle, make myself a cup of tea, and have my tea with a lump of sugar, a little bit of milk, and I'm going to take one of my cookies and I'm going to dunk, and if you make a batch of cookies, you can do that too. It was really very simple, and all the kind of techniques that we use when we cook at school. Okay, you can do those at home too. Good. Enjoy making your cookies. If you want to take a picture, sure, send it to me. I'll put it on the blog, or you can put it on the blog yourself. All right. Happy baking. Bye-bye.